Welcome to the Fairmont State MBA podcast, where we explore how graduate education can help you advance your career and expand your leadership potential. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fairmont State MBA podcast. My name is Tessa Jolly, and I serve as a graduate assistant within the School of Business at Fairmont State University. Today's episode focuses on an important part of graduate education that often goes unnoticed at first: faculty expertise and professional insight. When students choose to pursue a graduate education, they're not just selecting the courses. They're choosing mentors, instructors, and professionals who will guide their development. Faculty members play a major role in shaping how students learn, how they think, and how they approach complex professional challenges. One of the strengths of the graduate level education is the connection between the academic theory and the real-world experience. Faculty members bring years of professional knowledge into the classrooms, allowing students to see how business concepts function outside of textbooks. From what I've observed working with the School of Business, faculty often use examples from their own careers to illustrate how decisions are made in professional environments. These examples help students understand that leadership and strategy are not just theoretical ideas. They are tools used to solve real problems. Joining us for this episode are Dr. Billy Stone and Amy Hutson. Dr. Stone will be discussing leadership development, faculty expertise, research, and strategic thinking skills developed through graduate education. Amy Hutson will be discussing applied learning experience, student engagement, and how the MBA program connects classroom concepts to real-world professional environments. So let's go ahead and get started, and we're going to start out with Amy Hutson. To ensure that what students learn is immediately applicable in the workplace.
We stay up to date with what's going on in the business world. We want to make sure that we're keeping up with AI, we're keeping up with any of the new changes with financial statements or anything that may be happening. The faculty here at Fairmont State, most of us have experience working outside of academics. Mm-hmm. So we use our experience as well as staying up to date and current through either being part of national organizations or doing research so that we know what's going on. So we're not ones that keep like the same case studies year after year after year. We're always updating, fine-tuning, and making sure that we're hitting what's actually happening in the business world today.
Most definitely. So how do you incorporate current industry trends to coursework?
So we change our case studies or any of our scenarios to meet what's going on. In my courses, I actually change it based on what kind of students I have in my classroom. So I will look and see what our students are particular, what their undergrad is in, yes, or maybe what industry they're currently working in, and make sure that I'm hitting those industries. So I've had students that one semester were very healthcare oriented students, from a psychiatrist to some nurses to some nursing home administrators, and I made sure that I included those type of scenarios in the analysis in figuring out how they can produce their service. So I made it more service oriented questions. All the other professors do as well. Yes. They try to make sure that, say, we're having a big spike in maybe a housing market or some changes to real estate, they will incorporate those into their courses as well.
Yeah. So what role does data analytics or operational thinking play in your courses?
So data is huge. In all of our courses, we are dealing with a lot of data and how to handle it. And, within the MBA program here at Fairmont State, not all of our students have a bachelor's degree in business. Mm-hmm. So we teach from the ground up, teaching you how to handle the data, where to find the data that is legitimate data, and then how to analyze it, whether we're doing financial ratios, not only calculating the ratio, but how to interpret it. Once you have the number, what does it mean? In economics, we deal through the data wanting to get to know not only what our customers are willing and able to buy, but what kind of economy are they living in to be able to willing and buy things, so that maybe if the economy changes, so we're looking at the data in terms of GDP and unemployment, if it's changing, what is that going to do for our customers' willingness and ability?
Okay, so how do you challenge students to think like managers rather than just learners?
So this has been my hardest thing
Yeah.
in being here at Fairmont State and working in the MBA program, because I think like an economist. So I had to turn my brain a little bit to teach our students to become managers and think like managers. We as instructors have to think the same way. So it's not just about the theory and like the economic theory behind everything. I spin it like in my course to make sure the students are saying, okay, I understand how to figure out how much capital and how much labor I should have, but what does that mean as a manager? What decisions can I make based off that information? So I try to take what everybody is learning and spin it to, okay, now you have the number. What does that mean? What decisions can you make? And are they efficient decisions? Or do you need to change what the business is doing?
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of student-focused work, which is very
Absolutely.
good. So how do you prepare students to handle uncertainty or complex decision-making?
In our courses, a lot of them focus on strategic analysis. So we're looking at how to handle what's coming next. In my courses, we not only look at scenario thinking, see what would happen if the economy goes into a recession, or what would happen if we have another pandemic, those types of issues, and how that would affect each business. But also looking at, in my course, we use game theory to understand, okay, we have things that are changing, things we may not know. How can we decide maybe when to advertise or when to set a new location, and how it can be efficient not only for us as a business, but for the entire industry.
Now that we've discussed the applied learning and student engagement side of the MBA experience, I'd like to shift the conversation toward the broader academic and leadership perspective of the program. How do your professional and academic background influence the way you teach in the MBA program?
I try to keep it real. Bring in examples and situations where students can actually relate to it. So it's not just theory, something that they may consider solving a problem in their current work situation or applying to a decision they have to make. So certainly that.
Okay. What real-world experiences do you bring to your classroom discussions, if any?
Well, we work through current contemporary business situations, companies that you're familiar with, and the real decisions that those companies have made. And we try to diagnose those from the perspective of what would I do differently or a different approach possibly, and to research and defend those decisions that they take. And it really helps students see how things work outside of the safety of the class itself.
Yeah, it's good to learn about how you can apply the information you're learning, and especially with research. Like I talked to Dr. Sortino about it, and like going out there and researching, especially for the graduate studies, is very important because it's about knowing your whole environment rather than just like, oh, this is the assignment we're doing. I see that a lot in the graduate program here at Fairmont State. So how do you connect leadership theory to actual organizational challenges?
Well, we introduce the idea and then apply it. Apply that to a situation, and that's really what makes it stick as far as the theory behind it and how that is going to make an impact in the decisions that a student is going to take on a situation and apply in their current workplace or organization.
So why is it important for the MBA students to learn from faculty who have both academic and practical experiences?
Trust. It certainly builds trust, and that's one of the more attractive qualities of our program that I hear from students is that students, they want to know that what they're learning is actually going to work in practice. Theory is important because it's scientifically researched and underpins a lot of the knowledge in business. But how is it actually working outside of the quote-unquote lab of the classroom? So it's certainly the application, and knowing that the faculty have experience in applying that and have actually been in these situations and not just in the classroom. That's important.
Yes, most definitely. So can you share an example of a classroom discussion or a project that reflects real industry challenges?
Certainly. There's no perfect answer. And the focus on this is for students to really think it through, consider the trade-offs, alternatives of different decisions they take, and to really work through those decisions and to embrace that ambiguity and to research possible scenarios in which they could support a decision they're taking in solving a problem.
Before we wrap up today's episode, I want to thank Dr. Billy Stone and Amy Hutson for joining us and sharing their insight on the experience within the Fairmont State MBA program. We appreciate your perspective on leadership development, faculty expertise, applied learning, and the impact graduate education can have on professional growth and success. I think today's conversation really highlights the depth of knowledge and the real-world experience the MBA faculty bring into the classroom and how this strengthens the graduate learning experience. In our next episode, we'll hear from the MBA alumni who share their experiences and how the program shaped their careers. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.